Good evening. This review will be for the podcast, Delivering the Future in Drones with Keller Clifton of Zipline. Our first question that we were tasked to ask is, what do they do? Zipline is a company that delivers medical equipment and supplies to different parts of the countries, to different countries. Some of these things included originally blood and has since grown to other medical equipment. The second question is, where are they doing this at? When they first started, they were based in Rwanda, Africa. They have since expanded to places in the United States, as well as Asia and Europe. The third question we were asked to answer was, why were they successful? They were successful because they were innovative. They had a dream to follow. They knew what they wanted to do, and they knew how they could accomplish it. They also joined the industry when this level of technology was truly booming, and they were able to get in at the right time. Although they mentioned several times in the video that they started out as broke entrepreneurs who didn't have a lot of money and couldn't guarantee that they would continue to have a lot of money, they were able to find people who believed in their initial company so they could continue and grow into Zipline as to what it is today. The fourth question we were asked to answer is why Rwanda? Although Rwanda has had a troubling past, they are also very into technology. They're very tech savvy. They are often compared to places in Korea that are growing, and they want to be a major player of the modern world. They want to start trends and not just join them. Also, they fell in line with what Zipline wanted in a company. They wanted somewhere that needed access to things that they didn't necessarily always get. Examples being that they couldn't get this medical equipment easily. They couldn't get the critical things that they needed often. It might take over 24 hours for them to get this because things were so spread out and they were so many miles or kilometers away that they weren't able to get to them in a safe or timely fashion. When they were able to talk to the health leader of Rwanda, and they pitched this idea to her, and they were saying, well, we could bring this or that. What do you think? She informed them that what they needed was blood. They needed blood to give to their people. 50% of the blood would go to postpartum mothers, and 30% would go to children. Blood, which is such a simple thing, also had many challenges. There were different types of blood. There was plasma and platelets, other things like that all had different shelf lives. So this is something that Zipline really had to think about and consider when figuring out how to make this operation work. With the drones that they developed, they were able to deliver these things to them in a timely fashion. They used several times in the video the word teleportation, that they could quickly put it in a device saying, we need 5 units of blood at this location, and within minutes they'd be able to get it to them. This is something that they really strive to do because, as they mentioned before in the podcast, there was another system that people had tried to use that they would call a database of death, where they would put in what they needed, but they weren't able to get it, which is why this inspired them to be better so they could actually help the people get what they needed. Another question we were asked is, why is it so important? And as I stated before, there were quite a lot of people who needed this blood. They needed it to survive. With more people living, you can have a better economy. And they wanted their people to not be suffering as much. They wanted to give them a chance to live and to grow into this economy. When they first started, they had made a contract to service 21 hospitals, but initially they were only able to service one until they were able to work out the different things going on with their company. By the time they made it to the end of their contract, they were fully servicing all 21 hospitals in the area that they were initially working on. Thankfully, the Rwanda government was willing to work with them so that way they could work out the kinks and they were able to get the things that they needed. Another question we were asked was give an example of the foreign direct investment, which is FDI. This is when a firm invests directly in facilities to produce or to have materials in a foreign country. So they chose Rwanda. They chose to go there instead of United States. So, one of the main reasons why someone might do this is to give a country access to the things that they need. It's a humanitarian approach that they want to be able to give them these things and help provide for them. One of the cost of this, which was quoted in our book, is that the host country might feel then that they're having too much influence from an outside country, and that they have no control over them, and that they are not going to be able to follow the rules of that host country. With that being said, I think Zipline did not do that. They listened to what they were needed for, and they followed suit. This is my review of the podcast. Thank you.